Today is August the 1st, and so I thought I'd just go down and look at all the rows of grapes and check on the progress of veraison. And we'll start down there with the Gite row of Merlot. This row has been quite a problem in years past. We did get quite a harvest in 2020, but since then we've had a lot of problems with disease, animals coming in, and last year we got nothing off it. One thing I notice is a lot of frelons around here. They're actually just feeding on the pollen of the wild mint, but there could be a problem later on. Looking down at this end of the grapes, this is at the top end of the row, there's a bit of veraison, but most of them seem to be so far still green. The yield is pretty poor at this side of the row and in the middle of the row. The drought hasn't been very good for the apple trees. This Cox's Orange Pippin is very poor, but then we didn't really look after it last winter, so we have no real reason to be surprised. I've arrived at the Regent. Now, this was the very first one to start turning colour. The rootstock grape is now completely purple. And so that brings us to the Merlot. This is row 1, the most easterly row, and it's about halfway through changing colour at the moment. Row 2, I would say, is not quite as far on as the first row. Let's have a look at row 3. That's reasonably well on at the top of the row, but not so much further down. Pretty much the same as row 2, really. Row 4 is quite a lot later, I think. This is a Chardonnay, which is netted because we had some damage, as you can see there, but the maturity is quite varied. I personally always find it very difficult to tell when they've started the ripening process. Veraison being, in this case, that they go a little bit transparent and more yellow, a clearer sort of colour, unlike this one here. But it's not easy to see, really. And now finally the Cabernet Sauvignon. I think the first things I notice are that the maturity is quite varied across the row, but what isn't varied is the size of the berries, which are all very small. I don't think the rain that we've had is going to let these swell very much more. Well, there we are. I shall do another video to see how progress goes in perhaps about a fortnight. But let's finish this one here.